Hey everybody, welcome back to Mike's Wooden Things and Stuff. I made 3 project resolutions for 2021 to make my first guitar, which I did, to do something involving poured epoxy at some point during the year, which I did. There's 10 days left in the year, and I have one left to do, and it's turn a segmented bowl. So that's what we're going to try to do today. Hopefully I have enough time to do it. I've never done this before, so I'm kind of going to be figuring it out on my way through. And I would like to have some time with my family this holiday season as well. So I'm going to take it relatively easy on myself and do a simple, straightforward 12 segments per ring. 3 probably segments, rings. And just get it done to have completed the resolution. Let's find some wood. We'll cut some strips. We'll cut some segments. We'll glue them into rings. We'll stack the rings together. We'll turn a bowl out of it and we'll be done. The last of the 2021 shop project resolutions. It's not the shop project resolution. It's just a... Come on, let's find some wood. I try to find 3 different woods that will work nicely together. I don't know. We'll see. Let's go. Come on. So I was hoping to be able to find enough scrap to be able to do this without cutting up fresh boards, but unfortunately it was not to be. The closest I got were these pieces of cherry that it turns out are mostly sapwood, which is probably why it got cut off in the first place. So we're going to cut some fresh wood. We've got this piece of cherry, this piece of maple that actually was my test board on my planer unboxing video. So it's got some interesting figure and stuff in it, which might add a nice dimension. And this piece of sapele. So cherry, maple, sapele, I think will make a nice gradient difference of colors in the segmented bowl. I only need about, I don't know, 2-ish feet. I'll probably cut these to 26 inches, but I only need a strip about 1.25 inches wide. So we're just taking a little bit out of each of these boards, and then we'll get cutting segments and hopefully figure out how to do this. So now we're going to need to make an auxiliary fence for our miter gauge, which you always generally want to be using anyway. But in this particular case, we want that miter gauge auxiliary fence to not be sticking out further to the right of the blade than the length of the smallest segment of our segmented turning. So that segment is going to be pretty small. We're going to set this at about 1 inch. We're going to set this to about 15 degrees. Before we actually start cutting these segments, we're going to measure that angle with a digital protractor. But this is just to gauge where we want this auxiliary fence to be mounted, to make sure that we're not extending it too far. And then when we actually start cutting, we're going to have something on the fence to give us some clearance on our way past the blade so things don't get pinched. Right now, that is where we want to mount our fence. Take that off and we'll screw that on and we'll get cutting. All right, so now we're gonna set this to an actual 15 degrees instead of just an approximate 15 degrees, which is actually 75 on this. First, we gotta square it up at 0. Then we're gonna go to 75. See how close our actual miter gauge is. Oh, what? That's crazy. Check that out. $75 degrees. So I don't need to make any adjustments to this. That's amazing. Okay, let's get cutting segments. That worked well. Okay, so we got this piece of scrap clamped to the fence. It's almost exactly an inch thick. So I'm set at 3 inches for the first round of cuts. We're going to start by cutting a 15 on one end. And we're just going to flip and cut and flip and cut and flip and cut. 4 segments at each size. We're going to walk down a 1/4 inch between each size ring. So, let's see. I was just gonna keep cutting, but I'm not. I'm gonna get these out of the way and then, yeah, this. There we go. Let's see if we have a ring, and then we'll step down to the next size. Didn't change out my ripping blade for this operation, which is not ideal. But it's not that big a deal. We can just get the little bits of stuff off the back end of those cuts. Sapele, maple, cherry, sapele, maple, cherry, sapele, maple, cherry, sapele, maple, cherry. Look at this. Look at this. Huh? Huh? One ring. One ring to rule them all. But there's going to be 4. So that joke doesn't really work. All right. We'll move over a 1/4 inch and we'll cut 12 more. Move over a 1/4 inch, cut 12 more. All right. Okay, so I was gonna glue these up in 6 and 6 so that I could finesse these last 2 joints if I was a little bit off my 15. But I got a strap clamp thing around here to do a test fit, and I'm happy with this. And really, all the strength is gonna be coming from the face grain connection here, not the end grain to end grain connection in the individual rings themselves. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get all these rings glued up. And that way I only have to wait for 1 round of glue to dry for the making of the actual rings as well, which is nice. This one didn't quite go as planned. During the glue up, there was a relatively big gap between one of the segments. So I did this one in 2 halves. So now what I have to do is flush them up to themselves. Essentially, we're going to joint these faces by doing that. And theoretically, might take a little bit. Pretty big gap still. I have an oscillating belt sander. Ugh. Yeah, that was significantly easier. Okay, well that sucks, and it takes forever, and I've basically worn through my sandpaper, and I'm not there yet. on my first ring. So I don't necessarily recommend this, but we're going to see how it goes. I'm going to push them one pass over the jointer at a very, very, very thin, like a 64th. And see, I have a segmented jointer head, so that should help, but this could all go terribly wrong. But I do not have the patience for this situation. This could be the end of this project. Let's see. That worked out surprisingly well. Still not sure I recommend it. I definitely don't recommend it if you don't have a segmented cutter head. But I think if you're going to be making segmented turning, you should either have or have access to a drum sander. Or be way more careful than I was in terms of like making sure that they're flat when you glue them together. But I'm all ready to get these things glued into a stack now. So let's do that. Go. Let's clamp it down. All right, leave it overnight. Come back tomorrow. All right, let's see what we got. That's what it's supposed to look like, I think. Here we are. So we're going to hot glue this to this. I have an idea for plugging the end that may or may not be a good idea. We'll find out in a little bit. And then we're gonna try to make it into a bowl. Well, it's already kind of a bowl. If I put a bottom on it, that's a bowl already. Okay, glue gun. I'm gonna cut a piece of this sapele for the bottom, and then I'll bring the tailstock up and make a plug out of that sapele, and then recess that into here. That should keep it on long enough for what I need it to do. Okay. I don't want to overdo it with the hot glue. I've had a bad situation with the hot glue before and not being able to get stuff off. Let's cut ourselves a little end cap here. This may or may not work. As with everything on this show. Let's get it on the lathe. I do have a couple of little gaps in between a couple of the segments here and there, so I'm just gonna fill those with a little medium CA. Well, I gotta wait for this epoxy to cure anyway, so we'll just better safe than sorry. Let's hope we can keep it from falling apart when I spin it around and do the inside tomorrow. We'll get some CA down in those gaps and hope that I can take it easy on this thing when I'm turning it inside out. But like I said, the strength comes from the face-to-face glue between the rings, not necessarily the end grain to end grain of the rings themselves. So this might be unnecessary, but I don't trust it. I'm not good enough at this to know what matters and what doesn't. Okay, so it's next day. We're going to start today by sanding and finishing the outside of this, as though that's not going to be a waste of time when we wreck it by flipping it around and doing the inside and exploding it. That's not a thing. Confidence, yo. Come on. We're going to sand. Okay, let's start again. We're going to sand and finish the outside of this before we flip it around and dig out the inside, and everything is going to go wonderfully. Let's get some vacuum action going. Loud noises. All right, let's get it out of here. See if we can't get this off the plate and flip it around and get to the inside. Things are going well so far. I absolutely should not have said that sentence, but things are going well so far. All right, let's see if we can get this off. I think I can get a scraper in there. If you ever wonder, is hot glue strong enough to keep my thing on the lathe? The answer is yes. Oh no. No, 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 no. hear cracking. No! Okay, at least it was the plywood. It was the plywood that was cracking. Ugh. Okay. Whew. Oh, that was scary. Go. Now we can start digging in. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. So I just noticed that there's a crack that has occurred right here at the edge. So I do have to take that whole rim down just a touch. But then I think I'm at the point where I just want to be sanding it. So I'm going to try to just clean up this rim a little bit. And we'll get some sandpaper rocking. Maybe this is a thing. Maybe this is a thing. I think I got rid of it. I'm gonna round it over slightly while I'm sanding, so that's okay. Let's get some sandpaper going. Oh! Baby! Okay, a little bit of bad news after almost thinking that everything was going wonderfully. I didn't get an awesome glue joint on that plug that I put in. So there's a little bit of gappage that looks pretty crap around there. So actually what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take the detail carbide bit and I'm gonna put a little ridge in right there, and I'm gonna fill it with black CA as like a sort of a little inlay strip. And then we're gonna put it back up and resand it back down so that that looks like it was on purpose. Well, let's give it a go, because I'm gonna be disappointed even if I finish this and I leave it like that. I'm gonna end up disappointed when I shouldn't be. So let's just see if we can take care of it. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. Perfect. Okay, instead of black, I'm actually gonna go with the dark brown and hopefully try to avoid getting it all over the inside of this bowl while I'm filling this little gap. I got all excited thinking I was done, because at this point I'm normally done, because I usually do a recess in the bottom, and then when I pull it off the truck at this point it's done. But if you remember, I'm not done, because I got to get rid of that. But we're close. I just got to flip this back around, figure out how to get rid of that. I'm going to put that piece of plywood back up and just jam this against it with the tailstock and take this down. I've never done that. I hope that works. All right, let's see. We'll give it some paper towel, and we'll hopefully just be able to jam it against there. Still got my little divot from before, so I can get it centered-ish. We'll just slowly take that down, and I'll end up with like a little nubbin, and I can just cut that off and then just hand sand the bottom, hopefully. Hopefully. Man, it would suck if I got all this way And then I wrecked it at this point. Should not have said that out loud either. Okay, going okay. I gotta get closer than that. I don't know. Can I just cut that off and I think I get it bottom sanded enough by hand without putting it in all wonkiness into it? I think I'm gonna have to. Well, that could have gone worse. That could have gone worse. I'm not gonna get too picky about the bottom, cause I win. Cause I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win 2021 resolutions. And we'll oil it. And ladies and gentlemen, a segmented bowl. I'm bleeding somehow. Didn't notice that. All right. Well, there it is. The final resolution of 2021 complete. I'm super happy with it. I think it's fitting that the last project of 2021 is the nicest thing I've ever made on my lathe. And thank you for sticking with me and watching your way through it. I know it was a long one, but I hope you enjoyed the ride. I did. And this is going to go in a place of prominence in my house. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. We'll see you next time. See you next year. Yes. Yes. All right. Bye for now.